Hello and welcome to our webinar, Successful Data Collection with the Soapbox Engage Forms app. Over the next few minutes, we're going to be sharing some of the essential features and functionality of our Forms app. With the Forms app, you're able to easily create online forms, allowing you to successfully collect visitor information and send it automatically to Salesforce. Today, we'll be walking through the details of what that looks like, as well as how you can create a form through the Forms app. My name is Brad Grahowski. I'm the Director of Support Services here at PicNet. We're the company behind the Soapbox Engage suite of online apps. Soapbox Engage is, to sum it up, a platform that allows you to raise more money and change the world. Now we do that through a number of different apps. That includes our Donations app, which allows you to fundraise online and includes a peer-to-peer fundraising add-on option. We've got our Events app so that you can get event registrations for the activities that you're putting on. A Classes app, which is really a more robust version of the Events app if you have a full course catalog that you are looking to get registrations for. We have our Forms app, which we're talking about today, which allows you to easily collect data from online users and push that data to Salesforce. We have our Directories tool, which does the exact opposite of the Forms app, allowing you to create queries easily without any code that pulls data from Salesforce and displays it on the front end of your site. We've got an e-commerce app called Shop that allows you to sell widgets and wares, subscriptions, and memberships all online. We've got our Petitions app that will allow you to collect signatures online in support of your cause or advocacy, and the Actions app, which is our other advocacy app that allows your site visitors to send messages directly to decision makers, and the Actions app, which is our online advocacy app that allows your site visitors to send messages to decision makers. We've got our Website Portals feature that allows you to grant user login access to visitors that gives them a personalized experience of your Soapbox Engage instance and opens up some superpowers of all of these other apps in interacting with those logged in users. We've got our Soapbox Mailer Salesforce native app, which allows you to send mass emails directly from within Salesforce. And then finally, we do offer a full content management system as part of Soapbox. So if you ever wanted to have your full website hosted on Soapbox, you could easily elect to have that as well. Now, let's get to the task at hand and take a look at our Forms app. All right, we're going to start things out by taking a look at a form app on the front end to get an idea of what a user is going to see when they come to your Soapbox account to fill out your form. Now you'll see here we have a title for the form at the top here. This is the April form. And then we have some introductory text here. And then we have form fields and a save button and then some outro text here at the bottom. Now this particular form is connected to the Leads object in Salesforce. So each of these fields that you see are going to correspond with a field on the Leads object. You'll see we have a file upload tool and a photo upload option here. Both of these things are available, and we'll see how you do those in just a few minutes. Now that's basically what things are going to look like on the front end. Of course, your form could be much more complex than this or far simpler, but in general, this is a good representation of what you can expect to see. All right, let's take a look at things in the Soapbox Administrator to see how we can manage forms and create new forms and connect them to Salesforce. Now, once you've logged into the administrator, this is what it's going to look like. This is the control panel or the home page of the administrator. And you'll see we have access to the app launcher here, which is going to allow you to step into each one of the apps that you may be subscribed to. We also have a handful of quick boxes. Now in this particular training instance, we have all of the Soapbox apps that we just talked about. You may not have all of them on your site, that's fine, but the one we're going to be focusing on primarily today is this here, the Forms Quickbox, because we're going to be working with the Forms app. But before we dig into the Forms Quickbox, I want to talk to you a little bit about Salesforce integration because the Forms app integrates with Salesforce. In fact, that's where all of the Forms submission data will end up is in Salesforce. You want to make sure you've got your Salesforce integration working properly. And to set that up, you're going to come here to this panel called salesforce.com settings. Just click it to open it up. And you're going to select the My Salesforce account. If this may already be set up for you, but if it's not, this is where you'd want to go to do that. Now here you're going to put in the username, password, and security token of a Salesforce user. So then you'll click the Save Salesforce Account Settings button here, and then you should be all set as far as being connected to Salesforce. All right, so back down to our Quickbox here. Let's take a quick look at what we have here. We have a few buttons. We have a View All button. Now, you'll see here we see 5 form titles, 5 listings here. The Quickbox is only going to show 5. If you want to see all of your forms, you're going to want to click the View All button, and we'll see that in a few minutes. You can go ahead and click the Add New Forms right here on the Quickbox to dive right in and create your own form. You can also do that from the View All listing, and we'll be in there in a few minutes to see that. Now you'll see each one of the forms that's listed here. You'll also see the URL of the form. Now, the URL of the form basically means what comes after the root URL of your Soapbox Engage account. And in this case, it is April, and you'll see that corresponds here with April. You can edit that right here in the Quickbox by clicking the Customize URL button. And maybe we could make it April Fools. And just that quickly, we've changed the URL of the page of our form. You can view any of these forms directly from here, which is just simply going to bring it up in the front end view that we were just looking at. Or you can go into the edit mode for that form as well. And we're going to see the edit mode in a few minutes, but just so that you understand, you can link to that directly from here in the Quickbox. All right, the next thing we're going to do is click the View All button, and that's going to take us to the list view where we'll see all of our forms that we have created. Now here you'll see we have 7 forms. Only 5 of the 7 were showing up in the Quickbox, so to see them all, we want to click through to the View All, to the Forms list view here. And once you're in here, you're going to see a few different things. You're going to see the name of the form in the list. You're going to see which Salesforce object each one of these forms is associated with. Now, the way Forms is going to work is you're going to associate your form with a specific object in Salesforce. It can be a standard object, or it could be a custom object. And that is the object that and that's going to be the object on which the form will create new records. And each submission of the form will be a new record on that object. Now you can see for the form we've been working with, the April form is connected to the leads object. So each time there's a submission on this form, it's going to create a new record in the leads object. We can see whether our form is published or not. We can see its access level. Generally, you're going to want your forms to be public. If you're taking advantage of our membership portals product, then you'll be able to allow folks to log into the front end, and maybe then you could set these to registered, which would require them to be logged in to fill out the form. You'll see who the author of the form is and the date that it was created. You can also publish or unpublish or delete items here, or copy, simply by checking their checkbox and clicking Publish, Unpublish, Delete, or Copy. You can also edit a form by clicking a single one, clicking the Edit button, and you can create a new form just by clicking the New button. And you'll get right into the New Form dialog here, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. To edit a form, as I said, you can either select the checkbox and click the Edit button, or you can just go ahead and click the name of the form, and that's going to take you into the Edit view. Now the Edit view is going to look just the same as the Create view, so we're not going to dig into this too deeply here, other than to say we've got our Info tab, our Form tab, and our Options tab, and we'll see these in more detail when we're creating our own form. Before we do that, I do want to touch on the configuration tab here. The configuration, this is going to be the global configuration tab for forms. There's not a whole lot to do here. There's not really a reason that why you as a user would want to enable or disable the Soapbox core CSS, so it's probably best to leave that set as it is. Generally, show attachments, you're going to want to leave that set to show, and enable delete attachments, you'll want to leave that set to enable. If you have specific reasons for hiding or disabling those, now you know where they are and you're able to edit those as you need. All right, so let's go back into the form manager, to the list view of the forms. And from here, we're going to create a new form, and we're going to do that by clicking the New button. And that's going to take us into the New Form dialog here. And we see the same tabs that we saw in the Edit view. And we're going to start with the Info tab. And a good strategy is to work on the tabs from left to right, and then within each tab from top to bottom. So that's what we're going to do. And the first thing I want to do to get started in creating my form is give it a title. So let's call this our recorded webinar form. And we also want to select the object, the Salesforce object that we want to connect to. So we're going to choose the leads object, just like our April Fool's form was that we were looking at as a sample. So we're going to select the leads object, the lead object, but you can see all of the other objects that exist in this Salesforce instance that I'm connected to, and we could choose any one of them to push data to. Okay, so we've got our title, let's publish it, and we've set the object that we're going to connect to, so we can go ahead and click Apply. Great. Now once we've done that, we can customize the URL. So let's go ahead and call this our recorded webinar form, and the page title, which is really just the link title here. We'll save that. All right, so we haven't done any setup beyond this yet, but we can already take a look at what things are starting to look like on the front end. So we don't have any form fields because we haven't set any up, but this is how it's starting to shape up here. All right, so once we've created the initial details here, we're going to go into the Form tab. Now this is where the magic happens. This is where we create or set up our Salesforce elements as fields on our form. So to do that, we're going to click the Salesforce element button here. And once we've done that, we get a pop-up dialog, and we can go ahead and select. Now you'll see listed here all of the fields on the leads object because that's what we are connected to. So let's go ahead and find first name, and it's going to identify what type of field it is. It's a string field. So that type of field will be reflected in our form. If it were a pick list or a checkbox, whatever that field type is in Salesforce, that's going to be reflected to match on our form in Soapbox. So we'll leave the label as first name, and we'll go ahead and make sure it's published, and we'll go ahead and save that. All right. So now you see we have our first form field here, first name. Now we can go ahead and continue to add form fields as we like. Let's say last name. And again, we're going to make sure it's published. We'll go ahead and leave it public. Okay, we'll save that. And why don't we go ahead and grab their email address as well. And great. Now, as you see, we're starting to create these, and you'll see whether or not they're required and whether or not they're published. Now, I didn't set first name and email address to required, but we want them required. All you need to do is click the little icon there, and that's going to flip it from not required to required. And so as you'll see, as we're continuing to build things out, we have first name, last name, email address, and really it is this simple to add Salesforce fields as elements to our form. All right, there are a couple of features here that I kind of walked past because I'm going to come back and show you in detail. So let's say you have a field value that you already know, and you simply want to send that form field value with this form without the user having to fill it in. So let's say, everyone is in the same zip code. All right, so you can add a default zip code. Let's say 22222 is the zip code. So we've set that as our default value, and we can save it. And now we'll see on the front end, we'll have a zip code field with that value already added. So in this case, it's there by default, but they can change it. So maybe most of the people that are filling out your form are from this zip code, but it's possible some other zip codes might be involved too. So maybe you have that there and people can change it if it's not their zip code. But if you know everyone will be from that zip code and you don't want them to change it, then you can hide it. And we're going to do that by clicking the hidden value. So we'll save the field, and now you'll see that that field is gone. However, when they submit the form, there will still be a value sent for the zip code, and it will be 22222. All right. Now, Soapbox also gives you a little control over the way that your fields appear on the page. And we do that with some keyword tags. So an example of this, and these will have to be done in pairs of 2 or 3. So if we set this first field to left half CSS keyword, and we save that, and we set the second one to right half, and notice the syntax is very important. It has to be lowercase r and uppercase f. Okay, so we've got left half and right half, and if we go ahead and apply that, we reload our page, you'll see that these have lined up left half and right half. Additionally, you could line things up in 3 columns. And we're going to do that by, instead of left half, right half, we're going to say left third. We'll save that. And the next one is going to be third. And the final one is, see if you can guess it, you have a second to guess, is going to be, what is it? Ah, yes, right third. Excellent. Now, assuming I did it all correctly, when we refresh our form, you'll see those 3 are lined up in 3 columns. All right, now in addition to adding Salesforce elements to appear, you can also add a text element. For this text element, we'll say section 1, and we'll have this be basic info. Okay, we'll save that. And we're going to move this up right here. It's down at the bottom, but we want it to appear at the top of our form. So to move fields around, all we need to do is grab them by this little plus sign here and move it up there. So let's take a look now and see what that's done. So now we have a basic info. We could also add a new one, add another text element. We'll call this one additional info. And we'll give it the text value additional info. We'll save that. And so now you'll see we have another section of our form here. You could also use it to create a box of text, more text. But to super quickly interject more text into your form. Like that, okay? Now, in addition to adding new Salesforce fields as elements and adding text, you can also give the option for your visitors to upload attachments or files. Now, what's the difference between the two? Add attachment is going to save the attachments to the Notes and Attachments option in Salesforce, which was deprecated some time ago. So if your Salesforce instance is anywhere near recent or current, you're probably not using the Attachments and Notes option. Instead, you're using the Files option, and the Add File will store the uploaded file there instead. So chances are you're going to want to use the Add File button. So we're going to take a quick look at this. All right, and you can see here we have our name, upload your file, and the label is going to be the same, upload your file. And you can add the same keywords here, so if you want to position it in one of the different columns. Yes, we want it published. We're going to leave the description set to no. Enable edit. So enabling the edit is only going to come into play for a logged in user, but right now we're just dealing with a public form, so we can leave it set to yes, but they're not going to be able to edit it anyways. Enabling the file list will again show a list of files that have been uploaded to a logged in user. The max file size is going to be, as you see in the tooltip here, in megabytes. So we'll leave it set to 2 megabytes, and the file types that are allowed here, and we'll leave it set to the default file types. So we can go ahead and save that. And we apply our form. We come back to the front end and reload it, and you can now see we have our file upload tool. Similarly, with adding an image, you can offer to let them upload an image. The image, however, is going to be stored on the Soapbox server, and a link, the URL to the image on the Soapbox server will be stored in Salesforce. So we'll say upload an image. We'll give it the same label as the name. And the Salesforce field, so you're going to pick the field that gets the value of the image URL. And I don't think we have one set up specifically for this, so I'm just going to pick a random. We'll just say website. I'm going to try to change that on me to update to that. So we can set our maximum file size. Again, we'll say 2 megabytes. And then you have some parameters that you can set for the thumbnail. We'll say 100, 100, 100. Oh, this is the max image of the max. This is the max size of the image itself. So we'll say 600 by 800. How about that? And again, these are going to be in pixels. And file types, we'll say we'll allow JPG and PNGs. And this is the image folder where the images are going to be stored in Soapbox, and we'll leave that set to the default. And then we're going to give it a file name. We'll say from webinar form. Now there are some merge fields you can use to customize the file name for each individual user that's uploading it, and just click over the label there to see the tooltip to get some more understanding of how to do that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and save that. And now we're going to see our image upload tool here has been added. All right. And those are all of the elements that you can add to your form. And so essentially, even though from a practical standpoint, this form itself doesn't make a whole lot of sense, we can see all of the different pieces and parts as they've been added. All right, now we're going to move to the Options tab next. And this is going to give you a few more parameters that you can add. And the first thing is the record type. Now, generally, you can leave this set to default, or if there's a particular record type you want your new records to be set to as they're coming in to Salesforce, you can choose that here. What you'll see listed are the different record types of the object with which you've associated your form. Because we've associated with the leads object, the lead object, we're seeing all of the record types that we have created for the lead object in Salesforce. Now we're going to choose the Soapbox submit form. Now the reason we're doing this is really important and bears a little extra discussion. In the case of a form submitting to the lead object, if that form has the first name, last name, email address, and company, and it's of the record type Soapbox Submit, then when that lead is created in Salesforce, the Soapbox package there will recognize that as a lead of this record type, and it will convert that lead into a contact, and it will create an account for that contact. Additionally, it's going to use the standard Soapbox matching strategy, and it's going to look for an existing contact based on first name, last name, and email address. If it finds a match, then it will leave the existing contact be. If there's any new data in the form, it will update the contact with that data. Note that Soapbox is not allowed by Salesforce to upload a field that already has data. So it wouldn't let somebody change the email address or the phone number of an existing contact, but if that contact doesn't have a phone number, then the phone number collected in your form could be moved into the contact. If it does not find a match, then it will create a new contact and fill in all of the information from your form into that contact. So it's sort of a way to give your form superpowers in creating contacts, as opposed to just setting up a form that is associated with a contact object, because every time somebody then fills out your form, it's going to create a new contact record, regardless of whether or not it's a duplicate. All right, that's a little bit of a tangent, but this is a good place to explain that one little superpower of Soapbox Forms and the submit to lead option. Now this is where we're going to add our intro to the form. So we're going to say some fancy Latino FACO text there for the intro, and for the outro, we'll also add some fake Latin. Here we go. All right, and the submit button text by default is going to be save, but we could say we want that to be submit now. And the page title is Our Wonderful Form. And the honeypot option, the honeypot is a special tool that helps to fight against spam bot submissions. So it's generally a good idea to turn that on, and that's going to help prevent spam bots from hitting your form. All right, so let's go ahead and apply that with what we've got so far here. Look at that, we've got our intro text, we've got our outro text, we've customized our submit button. So exciting. Let's take a look at the submission messages panel here. After editing is a list of options if you are using your form to edit existing data, which is only possible with the membership portals option. These are some of the different options you have here, but for the most part, for a single form where they're going to submit the form with new information, you're going to use the after submitting option here, and that's going to give you two options. You can either display a success message or use a return URL. If you choose to use a return URL, you can put any custom URL you want here. If you've got, maybe you want to direct them to a page on your website because you've got additional information, or a special thank you page, or a downloadable thing that they can, download as a thank you for filling out the form, you can go ahead and put that URL there. We're going to go ahead and display a success message, and here we can go ahead and put whatever we want in as the success message. And the error message. Now, the error message is going to be displayed anytime there's any sort of error in submitting the data to Salesforce. So, the good thing is you can set this to say anything you want. It can be as friendly and as gentle and as kind as you like. However, that will cover up any real error. So if you're getting an error back from Salesforce, you're only going to see this custom error message. We'd have to look in the logs for you to see what the actual Salesforce error is, or you can come in here and delete whatever you've got as the custom error message, then submit your form, and then you'll see the actual underlying error. But for now, we're going to go ahead and leave our custom error message in there. And then our email options. All right, next we're going to look at the admin email options. These are the options for sending an email to you or the members of your team that are administrators, basically to say, hey, we got a form submission from this person and this is what they've answered. We do have documentation on how to use the form fields and what form fields are available, but in generally, it's going to be in the format of open curly bracket, $, and then the field name for field name, and then they close curly bracket. So a more specific example of that would be first name. Now you can include any fields that you've added as form fields in your form. So I'm getting first name from here. You could also do $ last name, $ email, $ postal code. So any of these Salesforce elements that you've added as fields, you can add to your email as a merge field. All right, so we can say, we got a form submission from, and then you'd have their name. Right? Likewise, in the user email options section, you can use the same merge field. So you could say, thanks, first name, and then complete that with the rest of your message there. And you're going to choose which field you want to send their email to, and we're going to say email field because that's what we've added to the form. Email the user, yes, we do want to do that, but you don't have to. Enter email subject, thanks for submitting our form, and there you go. And that's it. So we're going to go ahead and apply that. And that's it. We basically set up our form. We've got all of the Salesforce elements set up as fields that we want. We've got some sections that we've identified. We've got a hidden field with a default value set up. We've got some text set up here. We've created our intro and our outro, and we've customized our submit button, and we've set up our post submission behavior so we know what's going to happen after they've submitted the form. All right, let's wrap things up by heading back to the home page of our control panel here. Thank you so much for joining us for our webinar on the Soapbox Engage Forms app. I hope this was informative. Again, my name is Brad Grahowski, and on behalf of myself and all of Soapbox and Pignet, thank you so very much and have a wonderful, wonderful day.